Warmer weather is on the way. We'll talk about it in detail coming up very shortly right here on Action News.
Now from Renault, who turbocharged Grand Prix racing and won, there is Fuego. Born of Renault Racing, Fuego. Turbocharged or fuel-injected with 5 forward speeds, a slippery .35 drag coefficient, rack and pinion steering, front-wheel drive, cockpit instrumentation. Fuego by Renault. Drive Fuego for under $8,500 at Renault and American Motors dealers everywhere.
Share the fantasy. Chanel number 5.
Poland's military government has tonight lifted the curfew and relaxed other martial law restrictions that were imposed in last December's crackdown. However, the easing of restrictions came with a warning from the communist government. Poles were cautioned not to repeat illegal rallies like yesterday's May Day counter-marches. Thousands of protesters cursing the communist government marched in Gdansk and Warsaw in the biggest open defiance of martial law since the crackdown began. And in El Salvador, a United States-backed banker has been sworn in as that country's new president. 56-year-old Alvaro Magana took the oath of office, returning El Salvador to civilian rule for the first time since 1979. During the brief swearing-in ceremony, right-wing leader Roberto Duboschan presented Magana with the blue and white presidential sash, the country's ultimate symbol of power. Back in New York, thousands of marchers were joined by celebrities and politicians in a walk down Fifth Avenue to the United Nations building today in a show of support for Soviet Jewry. Actor Gregory Peck was one of many to address the crowd in the UN Plaza, where demonstrators demanded an increase of immigration quotas for Soviet Jews. Organizers of the march, which is now an annual event, say that while 500,000 Jews want to leave Russia, fewer than 10,000 were allowed to immigrate last year. Dayna?
Most of us have seen or heard stories recently about American soldiers who were exposed to atomic radiation during nuclear tests conducted by the U.S. Army. And we've also heard about the cancer risks caused by the synthetic hormone DES, formerly prescribed to many women. Well, now a group called the Campaign for Political Rights is warning that the public may soon have a more difficult time getting stories like those out of government files. The reason? A series of amendments designed to restrict the use of the Freedom of Information Act. That law has given journalists and other people access to thousands of stories buried in federal files. But the Campaign for Political Freedom warns if Congress approves the amendments, under the Reagan administration, many important stories may never be made public. Well, here at home, the city of Pontiac hasn't seen much in the way of financial stimulation since the Super Bowl, but with today's inauguration of its new mayor, the city has new hope for revitalization. Channel 7's Bill Proctor reports that Pontiac's first elected mayor, Wallace Holland, has an optimistic outlook for both the city and his administration.
It is the old making way for the new. The once prosperous city of Pontiac, now in the throes of a depression, but moving ahead with new construction like their Phoenix Center, and a new form of government. They once had an appointed mayor, a figurehead, but now their mayor is elected. He is the chief executive of the city. Pontiac's first elected mayor is Wallace Holland, who says that reversing the highest unemployment rate in the nation is a top priority. The answer may be in urban enterprise zones that will be designated by the Reagan administration.
I think we've probably been more active than any city in the state of Michigan relative to the enterprise zone concept. In fact, we wrote a position paper over a year ago on our concepts of what an enterprise zone should look like in the city of Pontiac, and I think you'll find that some of our ideas will be incorporated in the enterprise zone legislation.
Pontiac has had 5 city managers in the past 8 years under the old form of government. But Wallace Holland, a lifetime resident of the city, plans to stabilize Pontiac's government, beginning with his first official day in office tomorrow. From the Phoenix Center in Pontiac, Bill Proctor, Channel 7 Action News, reporting.
Tough day for Jack Morris and the Tigers.
Got knocked all over Chicago today.
I guess
Tigers
so.
a little bit flat, not good news, but we'll talk about it anyway. Tigers are the story, and they do take 2 of the 4 games in Chicago this weekend against the White Sox, but today's finale left kind of a sour taste. The final score was 10-3, and there wasn't much of anything good about it from a Tiger point of view. Jack Morris was the starting pitcher. He got in trouble early in the first inning. He walked the first two batters he faced, each of them on 4 straight pitches. Jack with control problems all afternoon. Tom Paciorek singled later in that inning. Both those 2 runners scored. It was 2-0, and Morris was on his way to his 2nd loss of the season. In the 5th inning, the Tigers got a run. Alan Trammell singled, then Chet Lemon with this double down the line to right field. 1 bounce. It's into the seats. Tigers trailed 3-1. Then in the bottom of the 5th, Greg Lazinski hits a screamer past Morris. He went down for cover. Another run scores. White Sox lead 5-1. As Steve Kemp crosses the plate. Same inning, the last batter, Jack Morris, faces Harold Baines, rips a line shot to right center. It goes all the way to the wall, clears the bases. Baines stopping at third with a triple. 7-1 the score. The rest of the Tiger scoring in the 9th, Lynn Jones singles to center. Rudy Law lets it go through his legs for an error. That allowed the runs. They were unearned. Final score, 10-3. Tigers lose. The winning pitcher for Chicago was Lamar Hoyt. He becomes the league's first 5-game winner. Hoyt is unbeaten. His last defeat, August 15th, which is last season, which means he has now won 10 games in a row. The Tigers are off tomorrow. They play an exhibition game in Cincinnati and then open a series with Texas back in Detroit on Tuesday night. The rest of the scoreboard in the American League, the New York Yankees beat Seattle 4-2. Ron Guidry the winner. He is 3-1. Oakland 5, Cleveland 2. Red Sox 6, Texas nothing. The Red Sox have won 11 of their last 12. They lead the Tigers by a game and a half. Baltimore 6, California 4. Milwaukee 11-4 over the Twins. Ted Simmons 2 home runs for the Brewers. Toronto 7, Kansas City 5. National League, Cincinnati and St. Louis split a doubleheader. Houston beats Pittsburgh 6-2. The Astros have now won 3 games in a row. Atlanta 10, Chicago 3, and New York and San Francisco split a doubleheader. Montreal 13-1. The LA Dodgers 1. And Philadelphia shuts out San Diego 3-0. Mike Schmidt, his first home run of the year. In the NBA playoffs, the first of the conference semifinal series has ended. The Los Angeles Lakers completed a 4-game sweep over Phoenix this afternoon. The final score, 112-107. Unlike the other games played today, this one was never really close. The Lakers dominated the first 3 games of the series, and Laker coach Pat Riley said he feared a letdown today, but that didn't happen. Magic Johnson had 15 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists, and the big fella, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was a dominant force as usual. 24 points for him. And now the Lakers can rest. They will meet the winner of the series between San Antonio and Seattle. Right now, it looks like that might be San Antonio. They had a close call today, but hung on to win. They lead the series 3-1. Seattle with the ball, trailing by a point. They get one last chance to win it, but the shot misses. The Spurs make a couple free throws after that, and that was the ball game. One more win, and it is San Antonio moving into the conference final against the Lakers. Milwaukee is 1 game away from elimination. Today, Philadelphia beat them 100-93. Sixers lead that one 3-1. Fourth quarter, Milwaukee moves to within 2 points. That's Bob Lanier, maybe as close as he will get to an NBA championship. The Sixers pulled away to a 10-point lead and coasted in from there. Bobby Jones had 18 points. Here with about 6 minutes to go, he had the lights turned out by Bob Lanier. Lanier fouled out on this play. Jones miraculously was not seriously injured. He did come back to finish the ball game. Julius Erving led the scoring with 21 points. The Sixers now will try to wrap things up on Wednesday night. And the Boston Celtics had to go into overtime before they beat Washington 103-99. Celtics lead 3-1, 2:03 in the overtime. Rick Mahorn gives Washington the lead. It is 97-95. The home fans thought they had a winner. But at the other end, Kevin McHale, 25 points, ties the game up with a little hook shot. The Celtics went on to win it at the foul line. The final score in that game, 103-99. In college baseball, Michigan and Ohio State split a doubleheader this afternoon. Ohio State leads the Eastern Division of the Big Ten Conference with a 10-2 record. Michigan is 5-3. Greg Page has retained his United States Boxing Association title, a unanimous decision over Jimmy Young. Page in the white trunks with the stripe. Page is 19-0. He says he needs 2 more fights and then will go for the WBA heavyweight crown. On the Pro Golf Tour, Bob Gilder has won the Byron Nelson Classic, a tournament record 14 under par, and in stock car racing, Darrell Waltrip